Well, we're getting ready to take a field trip, but no, it does not involve a green tractor. So we'll start heading that way and see what we find. Welcome back. If you haven't seen my videos before, I'm Ross the Oliver Man, and there's Buddy the dog having a nice leisurely stretch there. But I got a call from the owner of that 200 Allis-Chalmers that we worked on way back when in the cold weather, and he's done using it for the season here before harvest, and he's wanting to fix some leaks on it so that all winter while he's using it, it's not leaking all over itself. So we're going to take a field trip and we're going to go see what we have to fix it. If it's something I can possibly fix there, you know, after I get parts, gaskets, whatever it needs, or if it's bad enough that he has to have it brought over here. So I still don't have my pickup yet. It's, I would assume, getting built right now because it's not sitting outside anymore when I went over there. So just a matter of them swapping that out. So I guess we're going to take Daddy-O's pickup, which I'm sure he's thrilled about, but he's going to get more fuel in it than when I took it. So anyway, we're going to head that way. Well, we're going to refilm this portion of the video. You see, if you have a few too many barley pops and you try to edit YouTube videos, you'll accidentally delete some footage and then realize what you did and feel stupid. But the clip that I had was, I stopped out here in this soybean field here by my house just to show how things are going, and I'm pretty impressed with them. There's a few places where you can see it's drowned out, and that's kind of where the what it is cockleburs in those places that have poked up through the top. So, but I just want to take a minute to show you this because I didn't have a yardstick yesterday when I came out here, but we're more than 3 feet in a lot of places, so that is pretty darn good. And see if we can, they're coming along nicely, so I am hoping that these will be at least, like, you know, in the 70s maybe. I'm hoping. That would be really nifty if that was the case. I don't know. Like I said, there's a few places where they're not as tall, where it got a little too wet when it was raining a bunch. But most of the field looks like this. And that half of the field over there is even better. It's perfectly clean. There's no weeds in it at all. You can see where they start. It's just from the tree line here to where the corn is. There's a few little patches in there where stuff came up, and it's like I said before, you'd be a fool to come back and spray these, I think, because you would run down way more than what you got here. So just have to see. I'm no expert, but I'm happy with them. So the other ones over at Dad's and everywhere, they aren't quite as tall, but they've canopied out good. And I don't know. I had them sprayed a second time, those, and oh, in that one video we drove out to that other field where that truck was turning around. They're about the same way as over at Dad's. They're canopied out, but they're not as tall. But that doesn't matter. I mean, sometimes the beans, shorter beans yield better than taller beans. It just, you never know. It's kind of like farming is gambling, what I'm saying. You just don't know until, you know, the stuff is in the bin, then you know how you did. But overall, this is pretty cool. I'm hopeful with these, providing we don't have some catastrophic weather event that levels them all to the ground. I think we're in business. All right, let's have a look-see. See if we can tell what's going on. Oh, there's another tractor back in there too. I don't know. I thought maybe he would be around here, but that's okay. We can figure it out. This is one of those examples of don't assume that it's coming from where you see it dirty. He power washed it. And that may turn out to be actually a negative for us because we may not be able to see everywhere it's leaking. I will assume that this could stand to be replaced. I also assume that exhaust manifold gaskets are probably a lot of his leaking. That's the way it is on Dad's. For whatever reason, those things just leak. I mean, so I would probably do that. I would also venture to guess that the valve cover gasket probably leaks a little bit. It's awfully dirty down here. So now the question is it leaking from down there, or when it's running, is it blowing back, covering everything? Or did he do a good job washing it and the trail is interrupted, and so it was dirty all the way down, but it's washed it from the top down here and made this dirty? That's another very much possibility. Whew. Yeah, I don't know. I am assuming here, without taking that off, and I really don't want to take that off again. That was such a pain in the behind. It needs exhaust manifold gaskets, definitely. It needs the hose here. Looks like it could use the... really, it could probably use a turbo resealing, but I don't know if that's something that he's going to want to do. I would assume also that it's going to need... Is that oil cooler gasket leaking? Or oil filter base? For some reason I'm thinking that's a common issue on these. Boy, I kind of wish it wasn't power wash now so I could maybe see for sure what was what. Because like this mess here, one could assume, if you want to play that game, that when the oil was last changed, you know, it got spilled, and that never, I don't know. Also, your blow-by tube could be making things dirty. I think his valve cover gasket is leaking right back here. So I would say valve cover gasket, exhaust manifold gasket, possibly your filter base gasket, which I think is also an oil cooler. I don't remember exactly, but I might be thinking wrong. I think the oil cooler's on the other side. The oil cooler is the... It's been a while since I worked on an orange one. Yeah, the oil cooler is this. And I am betting that... Do we think that that's leaking? Or do we think that that is runoff from the valve cover gasket, which is now going down and getting trapped in here? That would be my guess. That's coming from a fire. Oh, okay. So there's things that need attention on it. Definitely. And I'm thinking, based on how this is looking to me, that it would probably be best if he brought this out to me, other than me trying to do it here, because, you know, I could do some stuff here and then end up that we have issues and have to wait on parts or whatever, and I don't really know about wanting to tear it all apart in here. Although I don't think birds would, well, they'd probably sit in that type of hoop building, I don't know. It is just greasy a little bit everywhere, isn't it? But I assume a lot of that is coming from valve cover and it's been running down. the whole time. So, I suppose to start with, I would say valve cover gasket, and then that turbo oil return hose, and yeah, possibly this was leaking, but it's all been washed up, so I don't know. But see, like that there, that line is awfully oily, but if it was leaking, you would definitely know, because it would be spraying out under tons of pressure. So I would think, unless that's just a head bleed off line from the hydraulic pump. I can't remember. I have to look it up. I'm not a orange expert. Yeah, I think my recommendation is bring it to me, and then that way we can run it, and then, you know, when we're done, we'll know if that in fact is an issue, or whether we fixed our issues, what I'm saying. I'm just wondering what's made this mess here. It just looks so dirty, you know, right down through here. But like I said, from the power washing now, that could be definite like runoff, and that has settled down here. It's probably needing a rear main seal too, I bet you. The way that looks. Pretty moist. Although I don't know, it's coming from high, and that bolt's got oil on it, and I don't think the rear main seal would drip onto that bolt the way it's made. It may be that it needs a pan gasket too. I'm just kind of discussing with myself, taking you along, but I don't know that that's... Yeah, I think we're going to start with everything up top and work our way down, and then see if that doesn't fix his problem, or a lot of his problem. You know, if it needs a rear main seal, which it very probably does, that's kind of a bit more involved, because you got to split the tractor. But I could also foresee that this is from the cloud of smoke, you know, that's coated some of this stuff. It's just, it's fooling you when it's all washed up like this. Because like I said, I suspect that that's not coming from where it really was leaking. That's more of like the water ran down and washed all the trash down, and that's where it settled and the water dried. Yeah, okay. Well, we got a place to start anyway, because I don't have any orange gaskets on hand, so I will order some stuff, and we can possibly get that all fixed up. His turbo is leaking exhaust. It just is very obvious that it is, but the question is it going to be worth it to address that? I don't know. We'll take it, when we get it home, we'll take the sheet metal off, and then we'll run it, and we'll get a better idea of what else we need to do. But we need to get on this project, because he's going to want to use it in the fall on like the silage blower. So, this corner is kind of puzzling. I'm not really sure where all that has been coming from. You know, I'm sure exhaust had something to do with accumulating that, but I just really bet that it's been leaking out of the valve cover gasket in the front too, and running down. But just sitting here, I don't see anything really majorly dripping or leaking. So that's kind of my quick analysis of just looking it over. I may be right, maybe wrong, but you're gonna get to see another orange one. That's what I'm saying, if he brings this out. And I think we can improve it. You know, it's just gonna be, how far do we want to go before it's not worth it right now? Because there's some things you could live with till it gets worse. But I really do want to see it without the sheet metal on it, so I can accurately judge how far we want to go. It does look like somebody has replaced the oil cooler hoses in recent times, which is good. You know, because your coolant circulates through here, and then inside is just a, you know, oil cooler. Looks like a boiler almost on a steam engine, and your stuff circulates through. So, but I don't think that that's worth taking loose. I think sheet metal off, fix the valve cover gasket, exhaust manifold gasket, turbo oil return, and you know, then clean it all up real good, and then run it without the hood and stuff on it so we can see. And then I think we'll have some better idea of whether we accomplished what we wanted. So I'll call him back and we'll discuss it and see what he wants to do. I mean, I don't mind running out here and doing it, but typically it saves the customer money if they can bring it to me, because if I forget something out here and then I got to run home, or if I got to wait on parts, you know, they paid for the trip when I came out and had to go back, and it's just, if I don't have the part at home, I can quit and go work on something else, and it saves them money. So I try to suggest that anytime I can. Plus, if I get super duper pissed off at it, instead of beating the hood in with a crescent wrench, I can just walk away from it at home. Whereas here, I might throw something and end up knocking the glass out of the cab of that. So I think that's what I'll tell him to do. I wonder if it's due for an oil change too. It's kind of black and nasty. Because if it was, I would almost entertain the thought of putting a pan gasket on it. But that may not be, this may be one where you have to, surely you don't have to take the axle loose, do you? And drop it down. I can't remember. I know we did some. And if I remember right, and I may be thinking of the later series like that, but those oil pan gaskets are like a jigsaw puzzle, and you just lay the pieces in and they interlock like puzzle pieces. But I can phone a friend on all that and ask what his suggestion is. But definitely looking at it more, I would say that the biggest culprit was probably the valve cover gasket, especially in the back. It's been running down. And yeah, I think that'll cure a lot of our issues. I am now super duper greasy because I can never not touch stuff. So, all right, so maybe not a very interesting trip, but you got to see this orange tractor again, and we got a game plan together. And like I said, I'll call him. We can take a look at this one real quick while it's sitting here. 80/30. That one might be original paint. I don't know. No, well, I can't say that for sure. And this might have also been one of the ones that had, I'll have to ask them about it at the place I worked at, because I can't remember. I was thinking that this was one of the tractors that was one of the later ones when Deutz bought them out, and they put over top of this a square thing that had like the Deutz KHD logo, and we didn't realize that either, or at least I didn't. They just stuck it over top of the Allis-Chalmers one, so you could pull that off and there you go. But I don't know if this is that tractor or not, but I know we've worked on it before in our day. I'm not sure if they bought it new, but he's got a lot of orange tractors. That's the kind of the theme of this place. This end of the county was big on Allis-Chalmers tractors because of that place I worked at. They were the dealer, and they're kind of on the end of town that was more towards this part of the country. here, so there was a lot of guys out here who had orange tractors. Always, I like going to places, I've said that before, but I like going to places where you can see the progression of stuff that they got through the years, you know, from back to like a WD, and then 70s, 80s, and then today, you know. They don't make these anymore, so stuck with an orange tractor and got a Kubota. But pretty neat. I'll talk to him, we'll get some parts ordered, and then we should be on our way to having more videos maybe about this, or at least I'll have something that will bring in some income, which is good, because this time of the year it seems like everything gets pretty thin after you've had to spray multiple times or what have you. So, but anyway, I've rambled enough. I'd get to doing that, and then that's how we are. But anyway, so we'll call it here, and as always, if you like the videos, give them a thumbs up. Doesn't cost you anything, helps me out, and I can keep making more videos, which is kind of a undertaking sometimes, but it seems to be working for everybody. Leave a comment, tell me what you like, don't like, what you want to see, tell me what you hate, which is usually me. You know, somebody the other day said, you obviously don't know what you're doing, and I said, you're absolutely right, I have no clue. So let's just keep doing that. Everything you say helps out the channel, and as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.